A lot of opportunities for the small business owner. Business owners are anxious to find ways that they can become better engaged with the Marcellus Shale boom. I'm Nick Ruffner, I'm the moderator for this forum. I'm the host of Hometown Magazine on News Talking 1160 WCCS and the news director for Renda Broadcasting here in Indiana. And with us today we have Jim Futrell from the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance, Rex Cooper from Consul, and Tony Palamone from the IUP Small Business Development Center. And I'm just going to start from the left to right and let you guys introduce yourselves, starting with you. Tony, if you wouldn't mind saying what it is you do.
Yeah, my name is Tony Palamone. I run the Small Business Development Center at the university. We are one of the constituent units of the Management Services Group, which is a way that the business school and the university makes the resources of the university available to the community. Most of our services are free of charge and also confidential and private. So we work with a lot of companies over the years in getting started, expanding, and even acquisitions. So we have about 100 clients a year, help them raise $4 or $5 million a year, and do a host of things along that line. And we work with a number of companies working in the Marcellus Shale.
Rex Cooper.
Yeah, my name is Rex Cooper from Consol Energy, the director in the supply chain management. At Consol, we do procure the services or the party for all the services and the materials and capital items for both the gas and coal division.
All right, and we'll wrap up with Jim.
I'm Jim Futrell. I'm Vice President of Market Research for the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance. We are a nonprofit that supports business development in the 10-county Southwest Pennsylvania region. We work one-on-one with companies looking to either move into the region or expand their existing operations. As a nonprofit, we're supported by the corporate and foundation community, so all of our services are available for free to companies looking to expand. My colleague Barry Soneri is in the audience today, and he is one of our project managers when a company calls us up and says, we're having trouble finding a new location. Can you help us out? Barry is one of the people we have on staff that works one-on-one with that company to line them up with the resources they might use.
And Jim, we're going to stay with you for the first question. Earlier this year, the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance did a comprehensive study of supply chain techniques relating to shale gas industry. What is the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance and what were the deliverables of the study?
Well, we as the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance, working with companies looking to expand in the region, we've spent a lot of time working with companies coming into the region to take advantage of the Marcellus Shale opportunity in the last few years. So one of the things we had done earlier this year was commission a consultant to take a look at the supply chain and determine what companies we need to be pursuing to help kind of build out our Marcellus Shale infrastructure and maximize the economic potential. And some of their conclusions were that it is a substantial opportunity, and one of the things we really need to do is have those types of building sites that they need. Unlike a industrial or manufacturing user, a lot of the oil field services companies need a big gravel lot with a small building. So that's not really the type of real estate we're used to developing here. So we've been working proactively to make sure those types of sites are available. The study also identified 5 broad categories of companies that we should be proactively recruiting, such as exploration and production, or E&P, an oil field service company headquarters, equipment fabricators, tubular fabricators, R&D centers, and gas and liquid plants. Another study that we did earlier this year that I think really speaks to this audience here today, we took a look at employment growth in the region since 2004 when the first Marcellus Shale well was dug, and broke out the 2 counties, Greene and Washington, that has the most mature Marcellus Shale market, and compared employment growth there by industry to the rest of the region. I think we found some really interesting findings with that. One of the things we discovered was that the fastest growing sector in those 2 counties was real estate and rental and leasing firms. They more than doubled their employment in those two counties, whereas that employment in those industries fell elsewhere in the region. And I think when you think about it, it's not a surprise that you would see a lot of growth in those areas, because there's a lot of people coming to the region. They need real estate brokers, both for commercial space and residential space. A lot of land title searches going on, a lot of surveying, and then a lot of equipment rental and leasing. What we also saw was a 42% increase in construction-related employment in those two counties compared to that dropped elsewhere in the region. Again, a lot of contractors are being hired to prepare well sites. We also, other industries that experienced really significant growth in those two counties compared to the rest of the region included transportation and warehousing companies, administrative and waste services. So those are companies such as staffing agencies, security firms, refuse collection, and along with repair and maintenance services. So I think if a small business owner is looking to get into serving the Marcellus Shale industry, you can see that how that growth is really driving employment increases in specific industries, and a lot of ones where you have a concentration of small businesses.
And Rex, the next question is for you. Innovation is such a big part in something like the natural gas industry. Let's say somebody has a product or a service that they think is applicable to the oil and gas industry. How do they get to the right people to share the opportunity?
The first thing to do is go through the supply chain department that we have. We do have people located in Indiana. The gentleman's name is Bill Dickinson, and he handles most of this area. If you have a product, the right person to talk to would be Jackie Wood. Both of them, you can get them via email with their name at consolenergy.com, or if you would like to, you can always call the Console General line and ask for them.
All right, next question for you, Tony. As we look at the gas and oil supply chain techniques, what are the business accelerator services, and what can the IUB Small Business Development Center do to help?
Yeah, what we do is, I guess they bring them in and we help grow them here. Or we grow them here. So again, we help businesses start, expand, and even do acquisitions. So most people think of SBDCs as someone who works with startup companies and pre-venture businesses. But that's actually not the truth. It's true, but that's about 30% of our client base. We also work with 30% mature companies, 30% young companies. And we have found over time that the companies that create all the jobs, in the 80s, David Birch made us realize, most people realize, that small businesses like yourselves are the ones that create the jobs, not the Fortune 500 companies. They're usually laying people off. So it's been further studies been done, and they further pinpointed that about 1% of the companies create most of the jobs. And these are called second stage growth companies, companies that somebody has started and grown to a point, maybe 500,000 in sales, maybe $1 million in sales, maybe even up to 50 million in sales. But as a person started, and now they may be exceeding their understanding of things. It's a different thing to start a company than to grow it. So we want to put in place a couple different services to help with that. We help with that now, but we want to do something to help those companies where the owner wakes up, realizes that everybody wants to talk to him and he doesn't have enough hours in the day, that there are other issues there, and I have a whole list of them. Communication is kind of broken down in the company. Not everybody knows what he's thinking. We want to work with people like that. One thing we're thinking about we're going to do is put in place for a few select companies in the area, a board of advisors. It's not the same as a board that's voting on everything. It's people who've been there and done that, helped grow a company through these phases, and get them to sit with the owners and say, maybe you ought to think about this. We're not setting ourselves up as gurus who know everything. We're trying to get people who've been there. So we would act as service provider if something came out of that. And we have a couple other things that we're putting in place to work with those kind of companies.
All right, thank you. And for Jim Petrell, is there a magic way for some business owners to determine a supplier's needs to see if they have a solution? Can you cite some of those examples?
Well, I don't know if there's a magic way, but I think one of the things that's been interesting to our organization as this sector has matured is to see the wide array of companies that have benefited from it. I mean, it's everyone from contractors to caterers, and it seems like every week one of our co-workers come in and say, I ran into this company that's experiencing a boom in business because of Marcellus Shale, and you would never think there is that linkage. I think it's interesting, what Tony was talking about with the second stage growth companies, because that's something as an organization we realize too. And we launched what's called the Impact Initiative, which is where we work one-on-one with companies who have hit that wall to kind of help push them over the hump so that they continue that growth and continue to succeed in the region. And one of the companies I think is a good example that we've worked with is a local company called Environmental Service Laboratories, which was awarded by the Small Business Administration the Chairman's Award for Pittsburgh Impact Companies recently. And when they were founded in 1988, they were started to do environmental testing for the shallow vertical wells and expanded into a more broad-based testing firm. So that when Marcellus Shale came along, they were able to make adjustments to the service they offered and also leverage local resources, such as organizations like Tony's and also the Indiana County for Economic Operations and the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance to kind of grow that business to the next level and allow them to open new offices in Williamsport and Washington and grow to 80 employees. And I think, using a company like that as an example, one of the key points is, they did not have to start a new division or undertake a major strategic repositioning. What they were able to do is take their existing bucket of services and make some minor adjustments to fulfill the needs of a new industry. And, again, taking advantage of the resources that are available. I mentioned the ones here in Indiana County, the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance. We can help link you up with those resources in other counties throughout the region. But I think also, make sure, like any other sales initiatives, sales prospecting initiative, keep on the lookout for events like this one today. Part of exporting the opportunity is going to those events, meeting people, learning about the industry, learning about the needs of the industry,